Hi, I'm Daddy Knightmare, and as you can see, I like cool stuff, and I like cool t-shirts. And that's why today's episode is brought to you by the Etsy shop t-shirts and stuff. And if you got a dark side like myself, I recommend the Dark Ones Closet on Etsy as well. Come on, who doesn't like cool shirts and cool shit? Use the code HORROR13 and save 13% off your order. Would I ever steer you wrong? Daddy Knightmare?
I'm Gory B Movie.
And I'm Retro Media Man.
Yeah, as you saw in that cool commercial, the time capsule, this is the owner.
Hey.
My friend and my boss.
Aww.
Now you are my boss.
How do you combine that? Like your Frost?
Yeah, my Frost. Or
I'll
Brend.
Brend?
I'll take it. I'll take any of it. Bross or floss or...
Sounds like a new dance.
You got a little side... Scoot that way and get him up here a little more.
Me? Yes, I'm coming.
How
There.
about that? Is
That
that...
works good.
Uh-oh. It's fine. I only need half a face.
So, we all had a fun double date with his wife and us. So there was 4 of us, not just the 3. And we went and saw Knock on the Cabin.
They paid and they didn't even make us put out, guys. Like, that's classy.
So then we bought them a round of beers. So then they bought us a round of beers. And it was
Yeah,
just a
and then
night
it
of
was like
beers.
got really complicated, but then it was totally fine.
And Batista was on the screen, and he did a great job. So,
Everyone's saying Batista is like the new best wrestler turned actor. What do you guys think?
well, he just proved right now he has more range than I've seen from either John Cena or The Rock. So, or
Remember
Hogan.
that movie though when John Cena did a beer enema? Like that's range.
I mean, yeah, he took a butt chug
I
of
missed
beer.
that.
That was what was that?
Cock blockers.
Cock blockers. That was
Oh.
what it was called, where they
That's
try to
what I
make
mean.
sure their teenage kids don't score for reasons. I mean, nothing's ever gonna beat Bonesaw in the original Spider-Man with Macho Man, but
Or Roddy Piper.
yeah, Roddy Piper and They Live. That's probably the best performance. But damn it, Batista still fucking did a great job here.
He's great, and what I think is really cool about this, like not just Batista, but Batista said it was really cool that M. Night hired him because he's like a guy like me who's big, who's tatted out. They don't get a lot of these cool dramatic roles. They get action roles, you know, just like it's nothing, but they don't get these kind of roles. And he's like, I want to do stuff like this. I want to do romantic comedies too. I want to do things that I don't get to do.
It's like
I want to, you know, push my boundaries.
Kane Hodder praised Adam Green for in Hatchet 2 letting him have some dramatic moments and being like sad and vulnerable. He wasn't just playing the mindless killer for once, and I get it. Like a lot of those big guys, it depends even if they're big stuntmen like Kane Hodder or wrestlers, they don't get a lot of that kind of stuff.
And a lot of what we learn about humanity and people we learn growing up watching movies. And if we're ever going to break these stereotypes that, oh, that guy's big, he must be really dumb, you know, and not have a lot of emotional range, we need to start showing that in our films.
I mean, he played a teacher. I think that was really funny.
Second grade teacher.
Yeah, like it could have been anybody else. Like he played a teacher. But I mean, I mean, Blade Runner, I think, was the first movie I saw him in that.
The 2024
2049 or 20.
Yeah.
Oh,
The one that just came out.
Yeah.
that's how he got the part that I read.
That's I think how he got the part. That's M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night
I
loved
think-
him in
I
that.
think
What
saw
did he
it.
do in that? I didn't see it.
I think he was a brute bad guy, but same. I mean, yeah, that's what he can play, but it showed his range still. Like you could see it in his face, you could see it in his acting. It was to me, it was one of the first roles that I've seen him in. That I was like, okay, wow, okay, he's an actor. This isn't fake. He's not a poser. Like he's not just another wrestler turned actor. Like this, he could be the best one.
Yeah, definitely. It's showing a lot of thing there because sometimes like The Rock, where he's got two different versions, where somewhere he falls in between a serious Rock like in Walking Tall and goofy Rock like in Be Cool. Same thing with John Cena, like serious badass in The Marine, but then goofy in like Trainwreck. But that's usually where they get. Hogan was always just a goofy
and
joke, but
even Batista did that with Drax.
Yeah,
but
he's
I
funny.
think
I
he
mean,
wants
you
to
guys
go beyond
probably
that.
know this more than I do. Like, did Hogan did he do a serious role? Like, other than like that was Commando?
Mr. Nanny was seriously shit.
Like he did, yeah. It was all comedy. It was
Suburban
mostly
Com- yeah.
comedy.
There's a-
Suburban Commando.
the Three Ninjas one that he's in as well, like.
The High Noon.
Yeah, High Noon.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I guess one of the most serious roles, but it's still kind of a funny part is when he's Thunderlips in Rocky 3. But no, there was like I think one serious made-for-TV movie when like they gave him fake hair so you couldn't watch it and take it seriously. But no, Hogan was always kind of a joke, and sometimes that's fine.
Except for in Gremlins too.
And I love Batista as Drax. I love when he's silly and, a big hitty guy. Like, I will catch it if it goes over my head. Like, that kind of stuff is great.
Can't go over my head. Oh, kitchen.
Exactly.
He can't play that role forever and
No.
expect to keep getting good.
Exactly.
roles. I get it. Well, he's moving
And I
on.
think he's perfectly paired with M. Night here because, like I was just talking to Doug before the stream, M. Night, he's a lot older than I am. He was an adult when I was a teenager, and he's still hungry, even though he doesn't have to be. He makes enough money that he funded his last film entirely by himself. He's pretty much an independently funded filmmaker now.
Yeah.
He is very wealthy. He could probably just live on 6 cents alone.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
still like constantly like, what can I do next that's different? And that's why, sometimes his movies don't work for everybody. I know a lot of people loved Old, a lot of people hated Old. I thought it was kind of goofy. But, I respect that he swung for those damn fences. He didn't play it safe. He's always trying to do something different, And to be his age and be that hungry and that creative is so inspiring.
I watched an interview this morning with him, and the way I think I told you before we started this, he had like a drive in his face, in his eyes. I could see it. Like I don't watch a lot of interviews of him, but like the way he looked so driven. And he said it's because when he did the show Servants on Apple TV or Apple Plus, that it was so hard that it made him feel positive and better, and for some reason it gave him a better drive. And so I don't know, he said he's gonna do a movie a year for the next couple of years. He said he's got 3 films already lined up, so I'm more than stoked.
I think like with some people, like the pressure turns you into a little diamond. Some of us it's a little too
Yeah,
much.
see,
but
a lot of people
Stephen
crush
King
under
was the
pressure,
same
but he
way.
says like it gave him drive. Like being on Servants was so hard, he won't ever do it again. He said, I'm not gonna do a show. He already admitted it this morning, I guess, based on the Collider YouTube.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've always loved him since Unbreakable. I mean, obviously Sixth Sense, but Unbreakable is one of my favorites.
Unbreakable probably is my favorite movie he did. And that's why I loved Split. But that's why, Glass was such a heartbreak ending that I was like,
my
how dare
favorite
you.
is still The Sixth Sense, even though the twist was ruined for me when I worked at Kmart.
I love The Visit, though. That's like one of
I love that too. And see, that's the thing. Like, the fun thing with M. Night movies is, we're going to talk about this one here and we're going to give you our opinions, but you know what? You could entirely have an opposite opinion. Everyone says it's a roll of the dice with him, and I don't think so. I think a lot of his movies just hit people differently. And, so no matter what we say, I'm going to tell you should see it, because with his movies, there's just so many possibilities on how they're going to resonate with you.
Yeah, like, Old almost felt like it was almost the Room of horror movies. I just felt like nobody felt like they were actually written by a human being. Like, it almost seemed like an AI wrote that movie. But this one, no, this is actually very pleasantly...
I should have watched Old, I guess, before today.
Well, no,
I
I'm
still
glad
have
you-
not seen
I
Old.
actually wanna watch Old with you and Kayla and just see your faces.
But this one...
Dan and I looked at each other, we're like did we take something before we came here?
No, I want to watch Old. The only reason I haven't seen it is because obviously the hype. People have said it's not good, but I don't know. I'm not gonna jump to conclusion.
We haven't said hi to the people in the chat here. Afro Whale, always nice to see you. Ben Grimm, Ariel, love you. Sorry I didn't get to talk to you guys a lot during the stream yesterday. When I have a lot of guests, they are my first priority. And we had a lot to talk about because of Scream, but...
Oh, am I a guest?
Yeah.
You're part of the fam.
Retro Media Man.
Thank you, John. I love my Diana Prince shirt. By the way, guys, I just found out today if you sign up for Full Moon Features subscription service, one of the free gifts with that, if you sign up for the year one, they have a couple Diana Prince ones, like signed copies of Evil Bong and other things. Pretty cool. And our very good friend Rich. Don't get jealous, Rich, just because we have another friend here.
The mustache is
we
glorious.
still love you. You're a beastie.
Thank you very much. I forget I have it some days. Just a second.
Yeah, we're drinking on Angry Orchard Hardcore.
Salud.
Because, yeah. Salud.
Salud.
So, who wants to break down briefly without... I don't think I want to... I don't know if we need
I don't think I shouldn't be breaking anything down because I'm the new guy, right?
Do it?
We'll probably do some mild spoilers, but nothing that tells you how it ends. Basically, it takes place, little girl catching some grasshoppers in a jar, and then Batista befriends her right out of nowhere. He just shows up in the woods. She's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I don't talk to strangers." And he's like, "Well, I'm here to be your friend, so hopefully we won't be strangers for very long." And then another group of people who mostly don't look intimidating, but are carrying some very dangerous-looking weapons starts marching down the road. She runs in to tell her two dads, and they're like, "What? No, huh?" And they try to shoo them away. They look out the window, and they don't let them in, but yeah, they're definitely packing some weird stuff. So they try to lock themselves in. Batista remains completely, Leonard is his name, very polite. He's been polite the whole time. He's just trying
It's the most polite home invasion ever. Yeah. Danny wrote Canadian Jason, who is the polite version of Jason Voorhees, and I was like, it's kind of like Canadian Jason.
They get along with him.
They're so polite. They break the windows, and then they sweep up the glass.
Yep, they, pick up their entire mess. They accidentally hurt, which dad, Andrew, or was it, did they hurt,
Eric. Eric gets a concussion.
Yeah, Eric gets a concussion in, the break-in. But
that happens very close to the beginning. I am not spoiling anything for you. It's a big part of Eric's story here.
And then they patch him up. One of them's a nurse, and she takes care of him. Leonard himself is a teacher, as we pointed out earlier.
Second grade teacher.
And he loves his children. That's why he loves their daughter, Wen, so much. He's, just a good, with kids. He's great with kids. He wants to see kids succeed.
I think what's really cool about these characters, because, you have the one side of the spectrum, which is, the strangers, where they're just pure evil. There's no humanity there. And that's scary in its own way.
Because you were home.
But I think what's scary about this one is the conviction. These people do not want to harm them.
No.
They don't like that they have to be there, but they feel like they have to be there because the world is counting on them. And the sacrifice of one to save the many is worth it. And so it's interesting, how Leonard, he just seems like a big sweetheart, a big teddy bear. But there's moments in here that are truly chilling.
Is that the acting, or is that the story? I think 80% of it is the acting in this movie.
I agree with you. I also think it's the visuals. One of the things M. Night does, I honestly, like I said, Sixth Sense is my favorite. This is his most visually exciting film, by far. He does such really cool stuff. When Leonard shows up at the beginning, they film him from far away. And so, the parent in you is get the fuck away from this little girl. When he sits down with her, and these very tight close-ups that feel almost kind of
he's holding a weapon in the scene, and he lifts it up.
And then the camera moves
with it.
Yeah.
And it's all filmed on 35. It's all filmed in physical film. It's one camera.
That's impressive.
So acting, when you're acting this, if you have this line and you killed it, which everybody in this movie seems to do, and then the camera moves to you and you mess it up, that ruins the whole scene. So every actor in this room is on point.
I actually watched some of the behind the scenes stuff at one point because there was a fist fight. It's in the trailer with Ron Weasley. Rupert Grint.
Yeah, he's the only one that's not.
There's
That's another
a
thing.
cool
He-
thing
oh,
during
man,
that
he does
fight
so
scene.
good.
He's wearing a camera, and so the camera is just moving around. You feel like you're the one getting punched. But yeah, I'm gonna say a lot of it. It's the performance, obviously, but it's also the camera work, which makes things very
It's huge.
unsettling.
That's huge.
There's also some really cool stuff in the script, which as someone who's read the book wasn't in
We
the book.
haven't read the book.
Yeah, that's where you come in.
There was a part in there where there's a news broadcast and he's reading it verbatim because he's seen it in visions 1,000 times, and that part I thought was really scary.
And basically, they seem like they just get these visions nonstop until they go do something about it, and they know they have to be there to do it. Redmond is the only one, played by Rupert Grint, is the only one who's not polite. He is a bit of a hostile kind of dick, but he's also a very desperate man, and you can kind of, you find out all four of them are very desperate. Now, some people just act differently when they're in desperate straits like that, but he's a little more pushy, a little more just angry, and you find out that, he's got reasons, I guess, but...
So, I know a lot of you are going to be wondering, okay, well, what's the twist? In fact, when I got home from seeing this with you guys and Kayla, the first question my son asked was, so what was the twist? And I said, there isn't one. Honestly, this is pretty straightforward.
The twist, in my opinion, not reading the book, is it not following the book. Like, it
I guess so, yeah.
It could have followed the book 100% because you read the book and you had your expectations of the story. Like, maybe it's going to be like this. But there's few things, obviously, I don't think we're going to say, but that they change a few dramatic things.
I'm going to say hilarious Fairpoint Station. I actually made that joke when I was there. I was like, thank God they didn't get the Redmond from Cedar Checky. Anyway, but yeah, I actually don't even think that was a twist because there's a lot of articles that came out before this where M. Night, I like that he didn't try to lure people in because I think I would have been disappointed that way, but he was like, I did a different ending. And he talked to Paul Tremblay, who wrote the book Cabin at the End of the World. He said, this is what I want to do. And Paul Tremblay said, actually, that was the original ending I had in mind, and I went a different way. And I like M. Night's philosophy here, where he's like, hey, you have that ending in the book. I'm just giving you my interpretation of it. This is the M. Night interpretation of it. If you don't like it, you still have the book. And as someone who read the book, enjoyed the book, but has read a lot of reviews on Goodreads, it's his first adaptation. It's one of his less popular books, I think, and it's because people are very divided over the ending, which is shocking. So, I think it's cool that he went a different way.
Yeah. One of my biggest problems with Old was, I was never bored with Old, so that's one thing. I knew I was going into this movie, I was going to be entertained.
I'm excited to watch it. I am.
To see it
The problem is
show it at the time capsule.
Nobody felt like they were acting or saying what humans and people would actually do and say. In this movie, they do. Like, everybody does come off as like a natural performance. I don't agree with every decision they make, but it does feel like stuff that people would actually do. Even when they're trying to like plead with each other, they're trying to convince each other. They're, in sometimes physical combat with each other. They act like actual humans, and I don't know. I loved everybody's chemistry with each other, regardless if it was like a good chemistry or like a negative going against the grain with each other chemistry. It all felt like it was the way the movie should be.
I know it was written. Sorry, I know it was written with like they had the weapons. They're coming to a house. They have an agenda. But I can't. If the world is ending, and my goal is to tell these people to do a certain thing to end the apocalypse. I feel like I would have gone about it a different way. I love the movie, but like maybe ditch the weapons.
That's one of the things
Like
in
a
the
simple
book.
thing.
And so you get I will say, if you like the movie, even if you don't, read the book. It is very well written. I really like Paul Tremblay, and I want to read his other stuff. I know people love Head Full of Ghosts, and so it's like, well, shit, if I love this, I'm going to go crazy for that one. But there are some interesting things in there, and even though I don't know if I would necessarily behave the way these characters do, there's definitely a lot of things in there where I think maybe I would have responded more out of stress. I really like how Leonard responded, so I'm not spoiling anything here. You guys know he comes up without a weapon to that little girl, and you're not going to find anything I'm telling you from the movie. But reading the book, he actually, as soon as they got there, ran ahead because he was afraid that showing up there with weapons would freak them out. And he keeps telling the more aggressive member of the party, like, we need them to believe us. So he goes ahead without a weapon because he wants to befriend the little girl and he wants them to know, that he's safe. And I think it's really smart writing because he is huge. He's massive. He doesn't have to do a goddamn thing to intimidate you. Being a woman, I think the first thing you do when you meet any man, especially when you're alone, is you're like, shit, can I get away? Am I fast enough to outrun this person? How strong are they? Just being a woman, like you end up sizing up men pretty quickly, especially when you're alone. And you see this little girl here and you're like, Jesus Christ, he could crush her. And so he knows that. He's a second grade teacher, and I'm sure he's had a lot of little kids be afraid of him. So he understands that his presence alone is scary, and so he is overly gentle. And I think he has this better understanding of like human nature because of that. It's a really interesting character. Such a fascinating character, beautifully played by Bautista.
Yeah, his acting chops is rich ass. No, they put to the test, and he does a great job. I'd like to see him more roles. It sounds like he wants to do a romantic comedy next if he gets a chance. And there's a chance he might...
Kayla!
She's watching.
That is the better half of this guy back here with the glorious mustache that Rich is complimenting so much. She went with us. It's actually super fun, guys. Like, super fun. Double dates, dude. Super fun. I recommend them now that I have friends to go on double dates with.
Right.
Well, if you love movies, it's pretty easy to get along. So.
Yeah. And just other very common interests that we all share.
Kayla, we talked about the book a lot. Like, so funny because Kayla and I were sitting next to each other and we kept giving each other the looks like, what? It's not in the book. But she said she read the whole thing in a day. I read it in 2 days. It's, for a book that happens in this, the story, takes place within the span of a couple days and it's in one location, you would think there'd be a lull. The book, oh my gosh, it's so tense.
Is Dave Bautista big in the book?
Yeah, he's like
yes.
two tree
That's what I was
they
curious about because
Leonard as being 2 tree trunks.
He's the first one coming. 2 tree. Okay, so yeah, so because he's coming, he's the first one and no weapons. He's trying to be.
That's why he's written.
There's no way you can hide him being the leader. Yeah. Because he's so massive. So I was wondering if that was like a M. Night Shyamalan decision or
it's in the book, and I think that's a big part of it. And I like how the author, because a lot of these characters are very similar to how they are in the book. The author really thought about where these people are coming from. We talk about the 2 dads. There's Daddy Eric and Daddy Andrew. Daddy Eric, instantly he's the persnickety one, and you feel it in the movie too, because the first time you see him, he's like, Andrew's like, I told you we didn't know to go check on her, but he's kind of the helicopter parent. He's the one who worries, like there's gonna be splinters on that deck, and it's because he loves his family so much, and but he is overly cautious and kind of one of those people who inadvertently might take the fun out of something. But he's played really well by, what is the actor's name? Jonathan Groff. He does a great job. But Andrew, now I will say Eric has a lot more in the book, and I know he had more in the movie because there's a scene in the trailer. Unfortunately, a lot of his stuff got cut, and that's my only real complaint.
By both those actors, I know one has done a little bit more than the other, but
Eric was in Hamilton.
Daddy Andrew, whoever that actor is, I'm sorry,
that's Ben Aldridge.
I didn't do enough research. I'm new.
Ben Aldridge.
This guy is gonna, just mark my words, he's gonna have some roles.
Yeah, but
he I don't know. He definitely had like the base of the movie. I feel like next to Bautista.
They did such a good job with Andrew because these characters, like I'm telling you, they didn't really change a lot from the book. The villains, they gave him actually a little bit more than was in the book. But Andrew, it's his story from the book where he, for seemingly no reason, is hit over the head by a man who calls him the F word, for a gay man. And he has to get stitches. He has a horrible scar. This messed him up.
Yeah.
And he got into learning how to box. He learned how to shoot a gun. Well, he already knew how to shoot a gun. Grew up hunting. But he started to become one of those people who anticipates an attack.
I want to say hi to Rainbow Fright real quick. Yes,
I
Dave
love
wasn't
her.
me. Thanks for joining us.
But yeah, Andrew is very much this person who is like, he's overly cautious. He's ready now because when he was caught unawares, he was attacked. And so he sees these people coming into his home as, this is a hate crime. This is because we're gay. And the people are like, we don't have a homophobic bone in our body. And he's like, I don't trust it. And Eric, who grew up in a religious background, he's like, this sounds kind of end time stuff. So it's very interesting how their backgrounds are playing into what's happening in this cabin.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, it kind of like, I wouldn't say they necessarily fight over it, but they're seeing it at a different angle. And they kind of have to discuss amongst themselves while tied up, like, how should we go about this? Because these people are crazy religious nuts, or they're, homophobic or something. And either way, it's like, it's not good, but they have to try to kind of figure out how they're going to go about it. But yeah, with all the, like, visions they apparently had, like, visions to make their... Batista refers to them as tools. Leonard, he doesn't like to use the word weapons at all. They're tools. But with all the visions they got and all the
Tools
stuff...
for killing people!
They were not apparently given
It's
the
in the trailer.
Yeah.
They weren't given the vision that they would be a same-sex couple, apparently. That's the only vision that they didn't get. But either way, they feel like, according to Leonard, that the sacrifice that they're asking of this family is made because the family's love is so pure that only a sacrifice from said pure family will save the world.
And, I actually like, because that actually was not in the book, that why they were chosen. And one of the things that frustrated me, and this is in the book, is Andrew and Eric. I do think maybe it's because a heterosexual man wrote the book, but I feel like he was very careful to not give them too many, like, flaws. He talks about how they've disagreed on things like raising their daughter's religion, having a gun in the house, but he never talks about a fight, an argument. And so you're just like, really? You guys have been married a long time. You guys have never had a serious falling out. In this movie, I'm like, okay, at least you're telling me that these people have an exceptional relationship where they've just always been on the same team. And so, like, I like the explanation there because it made it a little more easier for me to buy that this married couple, because I've been married a long time, and believe you me, we fight. But
No way.
it made it easier for me to buy. And I think for me also with the focus on Andrew, part of the reason I was able to buy it is because Andrew especially, he feels attacked by the damn world.
Yeah.
He was attacked for doing nothing, having a beer with his boyfriend. And so I
Sorry, I have
think...
to pause you and highlight myself. Afro, thank you for calling me out for my first time. Yeah, no, I'm not doing too bad, I guess, huh?
No, you're doing good.
Thank you.
After Will's awesome. But I think the more I think about it, and one of the reasons why I think less of this is a flaw, and I'm bringing it because it's something I've read in reviews, is because when you feel like it's the two of you against the world, us against the world, you're a lot less likely to turn on the one person who's on your team. And so their team is this marriage. They keep saying, you and me forever, or you and me, or something, I can't remember what he says. And their daughter, because, especially with Andrew, he feels like at any point in time, they're in danger.
Yeah.
From the outside world.
I do have a question about the book again. I don't want to keep going to the book because I haven't read the book. I'm going to read the book after this.
You need to.
I read books strictly because I love movies so much, and I recommend it to
And
anybody.
I actually, I'm throwing this out there. I'm going to do a spontaneous stream. So if you are subscribed to my channel where I talk about the differences between the book and the movie, in fact, maybe I'll get Kayla
that would be so
on for
fun.
that.
That would be so fun. But like, in the book, I wonder if like did Daddy Eric get hit in the head the same way and have the concussion throughout the story? That was a huge plot point in the whole movie. I feel like, because in my opinion, if you're married to somebody and they have these opinions of something, like, it's easy to tell, but like they purposefully made him, like he's injured now. So like, is he really seeing this stuff? Is he really believing this stuff? Or you're questioning it? So it made it really hard to like tell anything.
Eric is concussed throughout the entire book. The only difference is that when he's attacked and he gets his injury that makes him concussed, he's holding their daughter. So it explains why Eric purposely falls in the back of his head, which is the best way to get a concussion. Because he's trying not to land on Wen.
Always tuck your chin.
Yeah, but it also explains why he fell so badly, because his first instinct is protect my daughter.
Yeah.
So in the movie, he's not holding his daughter, but beyond that, everything's the same. And I think that is a really important part of it, because you need to know why this couple, who apparently has this great trust between them, this great love between them, why doesn't he trust his partner? Because and that's the thing. Andrew's like, honey,
concussed.
I don't.
Well, that's what I'm.
He's
getting,
like, I don't think you're quite
I could see them
thinking clearly.
like fighting so much because it's like, well, I am concussed, but like I truly believe this, but I know you don't. But
He
yeah,
also knows Eric's vulnerable because he's religious, and he keeps.
Exactly,
At
yeah.
one point, Eric's a
Whole
little
different thing.
offended. He's like, "I know you." He's like, "Don't let them get in your head," And he keeps telling them, when they're talking to Eric, he's like, "Don't talk to him," because he knows Eric is vulnerable to this kind of thing. Andrew is of the opinion that these people have been kind of radicalized, especially when it comes up that they met on a message board. He's like, yeah, these guys are part. They've really built themselves up on this idea, and they're insane. Like, I love it. There's a line in the movie that's not in the book when they tell them what's going on, and Andrew's like, "So you're crazy? Okay, got it."
Yeah.
I have a little tidbit that I did see too, that the color of their shirts actually represent, and this was the M. Night.
That's in the book too.
Was it in the book? Okay,
That they all have button
I
shirts.
figured it was an M. Night Shyamalan add-on. I had no
Actually,
idea.
a lot of he stays pretty
Because
true to the book.
Each color represents, like, red for Rupert Grint's character for being angry and mad, and because he was the hot-headed guy, right? So he had the red. The teacher had the white shirt for being, simple and soft and sophisticated, and then so on. Like, I can't remember the other one. Yellow for the nurturing, and then
Red for the hostile.
Malice.
Malice. There was one.
Now,
I missed, but yeah,
that's
I feel like that
something-
was really cool.
That's something that's not in the book.
Four
I'm trying not to spoil anything that's going to ruin the ending
The
for
color
you.
of their shirts were in the
I
trailer.
don't think
figured
that's
that
going to
was-
ruin
yeah,
it
I
for
don't
you.
think that
If you guys
should.
think I'm going too far, please let me know. I don't want to ruin an experience for you.
And if it happens, blame me. I'm the new guy.
But the color of their shirts is in the book. One of the big differences is there's no explanation for why they have different colored shirts. Actually, there is. They basically say they have visions, and so they don't remember a lot of stuff, like their outfits, the things that they have to make for this trip, getting there. But this movie kind of makes them like kind of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but it's a different kind, not death and pestilence and plague. It's malice and nurturing. They represent the four aspects of humanity.
Yeah. And, they probably wouldn't want to be going as the four horsemen of Apocalypse. So I think they'd probably call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy, if anything.
Or the Power Rangers.
Right?
With the colors.
Rainbow Fright, don't worry. We might turn on that spoiler sign here in a little bit, but it's okay. We'll try to keep it spoiler free for a little bit. But I'm so glad you're here. I love Rainbow Fright. She does have the best voice in YouTube.
Yes. And, very talented. Great shows. If you're not actually subscribed to her, go check it out. Same thing with Movie Massacre and Haunted by Horror and all that stuff.
And
Check
that's
each
something
other out.
I'm not trying to out you or anything, but
Call me
I
out.
do want you
Whatever
guys
you
to know this is Doug's first YouTube stream. He was really nervous, and as you can see, he's a natural.
He's killing it.
But like I was telling him, like Danny and I have social anxiety. I know Rainbow Fright has talked to me about it. Movie Massacre has talked to me about it. It's a pretty common thing. So you're in
No,
good
I'm not.
company.
I own the time capsule, and I talk to all my customers about it. I'm not shy about it at all. I have social phobia, social anxiety. I think we all deal with it differently. But I plan on doing my own YouTube channel where I unbox stuff and promote the shop a little bit more. So,
Definitely.
I think what I want you to know, and I'm
hopefully this will be a
sorry
good start
for mentioning you guys in the chat, I want Doug to know that he is with his people.
Yeah.
Because we all are dealing with the same stuff.
And he'd let me use the store to do that opening little commercial here. I could eventually,
Therefore,
once
it
we
says,
get the
"Go
website
Stag!
going, we'll do another commercial
Go
like that for our
Yeah,
website.
we're rebuilding our website for the shop, so that it'll be a lot better here in a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine now, but you
Alright.
look it up, you'll see it. We definitely have some plans to upgrade everything.
But as you saw that shop, that's where I get paid to be. That's so awesome.
It's super cool. Honestly, Danny's last job, which we won't get into, really was soul crushing. So I'm just grateful that you've given him a place where he feels safe and happy because he hasn't had that.
Well, obviously, Horror Addicts, you guys love movies, and I love movies. And we, at the Time Capsule, love movies. So.
Of all
Kayla loves
formats. Physical media.
Any physical media. I mean, like I said, I even started reading books because I love movies so much.
Yeah.
So.
So Rich, our good friend, who I mentioned, Movie Master, says, "You're doing great. I suffer with anxiety too, and I'm on the meds. Going to see if I can get meds for depression Wednesday. I'm struggling."
Yeah, it
you're
can be
in
bad.
Very good company. For
trust
some
me,
reason,
it
a lot of
can
us
get bad.
content creators have a lot of social anxiety. Why we do videos, I don't know. I think it's why, same reason why people who have stutters take up acting. I think it helps us to kind of, deal with it.
Thank you. This is one of my favorite T-shirts. I wore it today
it's great,
specifically. I am a huge Wolverine X-Men collector. Yeah.
He really is. Actually, you should show your collection in a video.
Yeah, I will. I plan on doing all my collection posts and unboxings. Like I said, I'm gonna promote myself on there a lot. Do the shop a little bit, but it's more for me. It's more for,
I'm really
for
happy.
fans
You're
of
doing
toys.
great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy. I was excited to do this. You guys, honestly, like I said, like the movie, doing a review of a movie is one thing, but doing a review in a YouTube with friends of mine, I've been following you guys before I even hired Dan, before he even came into the shop as a customer.
A little behind the scenes info. I played roller derby with his mother, who was one of my best friends on my team, Nunchuck. She actually used to call me Nunchuck Jr. We were that close.
She's probably watching it.
And that's where the name Gory B movie came from. So.
Yeah, I love his mother, and I've been friends with his wife for a really long time. So, yeah, it's really cool.
Came this close to being Prima Donatello.
That would have been a
you
fun
went with
name. Oh, that would be a great name.
I actually, okay, since you brought it up, when I played roller derby, obviously the first thing everyone says is, what's your derby name going to be? I had a 6-year-old boy who loved turtles. So I said, maybe like Prima Donatello, like a play on Prima Donna. Donatello's my favorite turtle.
Yeah.
And I was going to do like maybe some
Mine
turtle
too.
stuff. So I told my son, my 6-year-old son, and his jaw dropped. He goes, Mama, they're going to eat you alive. And he's like, you're too nice. They're going to hurt you. And he was genuinely like horror stricken. And he says, Mama, you like scary movies. You need to be blood and scary and maybe be Scary Mama
Yeah,
or
Scary
something. So Danny and I workshopped it and we came up with Gory B movie number NC-17.
Yep, that's where it eventually fell. I mean, I think we were like, scary moon zombie, no, and then like scary movie, and then like scary
So,
B movie, and then
yeah.
somehow bloody B movie at one point, but then like, no, gory B movie.
I
It's
could have been
perfect.
probably Gory Feldman or your more traditional Derby name, but Gory B movie, it just felt right.
I forgot I took a whole bunch of
it's still
notes, you
here.
guys, and I just looked at them. The first note was actually really good, I have to say.
Say it.
There was a, I have to look back down.
That's okay.
There was an earthquake this morning.
Oh.
3.5 in like New York or something.
Oh.
I just thought it was
didn't feel
hilarious that we're reviewing a movie about the apocalypse, and there was a big earthquake, and there was one this morning.
Hey, Katie. So one of the cool things about the book and the movie is I think they let you kind of figure it out. Nobody definitively says, yes, it's the apocalypse.
Way
no,
more
it's
different
not
than the movie.
the apocalypse. The book is a lot more ambiguous than the movie. The movie
kind of hints.
I
but it
feel
doesn't
like
straight
the
up say.
movie-
It's still up to your. In the movie, I do feel like it's still. You could still, in the end, like it's
Yeah.
up to you to decide.
But it's more evidence towards what it might be.
Yeah, the book definitely.
everybody, what's
What's
up?
that, Christian
I'm from the '90s. I know it.
So I feel like the movie gives you a little bit more of a nudge. The book is a lot more ambiguous. And see, here's the thing. When I was on Goodreads after reading the book, I remember a lot of complaints
It was
that
in New York, yes.
there wasn't a lot of answers. There's a lot of questions even about like the people who showed up to the house. Andrew, has a theory about one of them, and the book never tells you.
The movie gives you closure on that theory.
The book, or not the book, the movie actually gives you a lot more answers, which is something I really wanted, because part of the reason I'm turning those pages is because I gotta know. I have to know. And basically, the book challenged me back and said, search within yourself. And I was like, God damn it, don't be so damn deep.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Haunted by Horror. Please share a link when Doug's channel is set up. Yes, I will.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
It's not up right now, but otherwise I will definitely.
Right now, we just moved houses, and I'm setting up all my toys because I have a lot, you guys. I'm a Wolverine X-Men collector, but I'm going to be unboxing anything and everything that's collectible. Mostly Marvel, mostly Star Wars 90s stuff, but I will definitely post. I will let you know.
You love movies. Check out our buddy Kevin from Haunted by Horror. Not only does he have an awesome set, but
I would love to
he
check it out.
covers really fun movies, like
Yeah.
a lot of different varieties.
You guys, I live on YouTube. You guys, I live on YouTube. I have a channel already up. It's a time capsule. It's ridiculous. Don't look at it. There's not a lot on there.
PG
I do
Chips,
have a
you say?
walkthrough of the
Lipton.
shop, but oh no. But yeah, no, I've been posting on there for a while. I don't know. Nothing's great right now. But I'm going to do an official YouTube channel where I do unboxings and stuff. It's going to be good.
I will say, I've heard this from conventions, from actors and stuff who meet fans, and just other people in the community. The horror community and the movie community in general is a really cool place to be, because just everyone's so...
Yeah. Well, we're all into one thing. I mean, that's the fun stuff. That's the fun thing about the shop is everybody is into collecting. Everybody that comes into the shop is a nerd. They're all into something. You know, they all have, certain things they're into, and people come in, talk about like-minded stuff. So. Well,
the inspiration to actually start this channel comes from not anything really horror. I love horror. I've always loved horror. And I always wanted to do something about horror. But originally I was kind of like, I watched, Angry Video Game Nerd. I'm like, oh, that's really funny. He does all these skits.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Like a lot of these other stuff, and like just things like true facts about the I and all these things that I was watching. But there was Andre the Black Nerd, and he was just like really fun and entertaining.
We're still huge fans.
And I was just like, oh man, I kind of want to do a channel just like this guy. But the nerd thing has been like conquered, and I'm a huge nerd. But I'm like, well, I'm also specifically like a horror nerd.
This is 2015.
I'll tell you guys right now, he's a horror nerd. Number one, I see that, but I've seen his collection. He is a huge general.
Yeah. You guys wouldn't know this. He's a general nerd. You guys wouldn't know this. He's also Harley Quinn obsessed. Not DC, not Batman. Harley Quinn. Any Funko she gets, he gets it. He is a Harley Quinn stan.
I'm not gonna pay like $300.
You wouldn't know that from Horror Addicts, but yeah, man loves him for Harley Quinn.
If you if you go with the Quinzel, Harleen Quinzel book, where it's just that is basically a horror graphic novel. It's like Harley Quinn fits in horror very well. Her and the Joker are very violent characters sometimes.
I'm giving you a thumbs up.
In fact, I love in the Suicide Squad where the Joker handcuffs her and ties her up, and she wakes up next to a bunch of dead skeletons that are also dressed like Harley Quinn, and he tries to convince her and like gaslight her that she's not the original. Like, it's pretty messed up. There's some horror in there.
By the way, guys, please give these awesome gentlemen a thumbs up in the doobly doo. It's just cool, or a thumbs down. You're adults.
But this isn't gonna be Doug's last time by any means. And when he gets his channel up, we'll have him back on, and hopefully, maybe I can make an appearance on. Exactly.
Yeah. No.
I want to have Kayla on to talk about the book.
Yeah, you should. You can do that on the Gory.
On Gory v Movie.
Yeah. Her spin-off channel, if somehow you don't know about it yet.
It's like this channel's Happy Days and my channel's Mork and Mindy.
Oh, I love Mork and Mindy.
I love Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I miss Robin Williams.
I do too. Good stuff.
We off topic.
Yes. We should get back to that. So I'm going to throw straight up here. The acting is great. The writing is great. The ending is going to be some divisive on people. Like, some people I know don't like the ending. Some people I know are fine with it. Some people say that they wouldn't want to see like the ending of the book. Like, they would actually rather this than how the book ended, because the book apparently is sad. I haven't read it.
Very sad.
But from what I hear, that some people are a little happier that there's more of a conclusion to some of that. So I'm definitely gonna say you should see it, and especially on theater. It looks great. It's amazing. Like you said, it was filmed like on actual film, but it looks brilliant. Well then,
Carl Winslow.
Carl Winslow's been getting a lot of commercials lately as a TV dad. They're like,
I'm dying, dude.
Like, the dad will be like, you should get like this insurance and stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't know. And then like Carl Winslow will walk into the room and be like, TV dad says insurance is great, you should do it, and he's like, okay, thanks, TV dad. And then
if I'm gonna go with our Friday night thing, I think I'm more like a Carlton.
I can see a Carlton. Are you gonna do the dance? Yeah. Let's see the dance.
I don't know. He's kind of stuck up though. I don't know. I'll take Carl Winslow. It's fine.
He was in Die Hard. He was awesome.
Clarissa Explains It All.
Oh.
I really hope people take this movie and like start filming more film. Like, digital is great, but I
wish I could afford
retro media man. Like, I love physical media. Like, the fact that it's on physical film, 35 millimeter film, and it's filmed in on one camera on set. That doesn't happen anymore. There's no on-set location filming. It's all digital. There's backgrounds. It's all fake.
This is ambitious
This is real.
filmmaking. It does not need to be this ambitious. Like, I saw interviews, which, by the way, you can see on YouTube, where they were talking about how it was filmed. And, they're doing so many creative things with the camera movement here.
There was no artificial
to make it interesting, because it's inside one room.
It was all natural lighting inside the house. They didn't use fake white lights to shine on the actors. It was all through the doors and through the windows.
And it gives it that claustrophobic feeling that you would have if you were one of these characters. So as far as, and I want to ask you guys too, in your family, say the three of us show up and we're like, hey, you
knock sound
need
effects.
to choose somebody in your family and kill them or the world's going to end. What do you do? We talked about this a lot. What are our answers?
I like to do it with pets because it's a little easier for me. I don't want to decide anyways, but
I say fuck the police.
Yeah.
I have decided, see, here's my philosophy, and this isn't spoiling the movie. This is just my philosophy. I figure, okay, this happened to me. There's a few possibilities. A, these people are crazy.
Most likely.
So I definitely shouldn't kill my family for them.
Religious nuts of some sort.
B, it really is the end times, which means, damn it, did I choose wrong being Wiccan? There is a big God, and it's the Old Testament variety, and it's really angry, and it's deciding that it needs to have sacrifices. Or C, aliens?
Or maybe you're in a Matrix type
Or
simulation.
you're a simulation.
You're a cookie like in Black Mirror.
So
it's the
either
basic trolley problem.
Revelations, simulation, aliens, or they're crazy. In all of these situations, I feel like if you give in and you sacrifice somebody, who's to say the aliens don't get bored in another month? Who's to say the God doesn't want to challenge you more? Who's to say the God decides that your sacrifice isn't good enough? I feel like if you're playing this kind of game, you're going to lose. And ultimately, I think what it comes down to is I'd rather live with integrity. Live knowing that I am not a killer. I am somebody who values life. I am somebody who doesn't want to have their son see his father killed in front of him or his mother killed in front of him. I am somebody who values that. If a angry God, aliens, simulation to choose to kill the rest of the world, that is their decision, not mine. I would rather die as myself with integrity than playing some evil game that turns me into something that I never wanted to be.
Yeah, just to impress some god. It's like kind of like Cabin in the Woods, if you've seen that, where I mean, that one tells you what's real. We're not going to tell you what the actual thing is here. This is
We're
like
going out
hypothetical.
Mad Max style.
Yeah, this is a hypothetical for us. If we were like in a Cabin in the Woods situation, like what they do in the end of that, where they're just like, fuck it, maybe it's time for a new change.
There's Cabin, ironically Cabin to Cabin, but there was so many similarities with like the way I felt.
They're connected.
The way I felt. What somebody says is in the real world, like it could be. We don't know.
It could be.
We don't know. Or
honestly,
it might not be.
If it was me, my first question would be, okay, where are you getting your information from? Because I'd want to know simulation, aliens, Old Testament. If it's Old Testament, I'm going to gather a whole bunch of witches, and we're going to get medieval on this Christian deity. If it's a simulation, we need to pull some crazy shit and break the code. If it's aliens, humanity needs to pull together to overthrow them, but I wouldn't be playing the game. For me, that would just be an affront to my nature. What about you guys?
It could even be like more like an ancient god too, not necessarily a Christian god, like the sacrifice the virgin in the volcano type, or the Greek gods had the titans that were like big enough to destroy the whole world and shit.
I would like to think this is like a Truman Show where it's like a simulation where they're trying the way every time spoilers, I can't say much, but like everything was like see, this is new for me, so I don't know what I can say to you guys, but like if it was a simulation, it definitely shows in humanity that we are capable of doing some great things. Like in this movie it does. The book is different from what I've seen, but like I would love to think that it was that'd be a fun way to view it if it was a simulation. I like Truman Show. I've always been into that.
Yeah, and I think there's also something to say for, and I don't think there's a wrong answer here. Just because I have my answer doesn't mean you're wrong for saying, hey, the good of the many is better than the good of the few. and that you're going to sacrifice somebody,
nothing
you know?
to say that it isn't noble, because in a certain way it could be very noble.
That's really
But-
noble. And I think in a different circumstance, I would do that. If I'm the only one who sees
Yeah, it's the basic trolley simulation.
grenade is on the ground and
it's
children
like a train
and people
track.
around.
You have somebody on the right train track who it's one person, maybe it's somebody you love, and you have somebody on the left train track
person you love.
like 10 people or 20 people that you don't know.
Yeah, the whole world.
Do you save them, or do you save the one person you know or love? Like it's it's a tough thing, man. But it's the whole movie.
I mean, even the Saw movies are like this to a degree, and I
Make a
feel like
choice.
ultimately in these situations, and this is the situation with a lot of horrible things in this world, real things in this world. I blame whatever's causing the situation. I don't blame the people involved. So I would blame whoever's making you make a horrible decision, not myself, not the people who've come to my cabin.
And the people who come to the cabin, the visitors in a sense. It's kind of like we said, Cabin in the Woods, it's kind of like The Strangers, it's kind of like Saw, it's kind of like a lot of those things, but it's also its own thing. And they're not evil, like, they just know that the stuff that's starting to, like, kind of be seen is what they've been seeing, and they truly believe it. Like, they don't even, like, I wish somebody would ask them, like, well, what, specifically is this that sent you?
Oh, there's so many questions I would have asked.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's so many more questions I would have asked. But that's yeah.
I think that's one of my only complaints with the movie is because if this was
So
me,
frustrating.
Yeah.
and these are
So
intelligent
frustrating.
men, their jobs are a little different than they are in the book. In the book, Andrew is a professor at a college, and I honestly don't remember what Eric does. In the movie, Andrew is a human rights lawyer, I think, or Eric is.
Yeah, something like that.
Eric
One of them's a human
Eric
rights
was, I
lawyer.
think.
So, I think I would have liked them to ask more questions. They are definitely asking whether or not these people are crazy, but they're not asking who gave you this information. Yeah. Where is it coming from?
Which
Do you think
God or which
Sabrina talks about God at some point?
Well,
how she's never been
to ask
religious.
how they got there. Like
who's sending these visions to you, right?
I feel like a lot of people in this movie are instantly thinking Old Testament shit. They're thinking God. But as somebody who does not believe in like Christianity, no shade to you if you do, I'm very open-minded. That's just my interpretation of it. I think that's a story for another day. But as somebody who doesn't believe in that, why aren't they asking?
Yeah.
Could it be aliens like under the dome? Mm-hmm. Could it be a simulation?
Right? There's so many
why are they questioning?
Like, is this the Matrix? Under the dome, like you said, the Tommy knockers. What what is putting this in their head? Like, these people are passionate, and like Leonard Batista, he loves the kids that he teaches for. He doesn't want to see the world end. That's his biggest belief.
His acting, man. Yeah.
He doesn't want to see a whole world be killed in a sense. And the same thing, like one of them, she's got a kid and she like begs for her own kid.
Not even for herself. She's begging for her child.
And you believe every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like based on what they're saying, you
one
want to
person
believe
is because essentially, and I think they tell you this in the trailer, but they are not there to kill the family. The family has to choose who to sacrifice.
We
but
believe that. Yeah, that's what they
for
make
every time they say no, one of the four has to be sacrificed. They put on a hood.
I think we should put on the mild spoilers at this point.
And
we're not gonna tell you how it ends.
They're being sacrificed for part of humanity, and so.
Sorry, guys.
And so, yeah, you have to watch these people kill each other, but they're not going to kill you.
Yeah, that's actually what the tools are for. And it's almost like they're in a trance, and they kind of have to do it once they have a certain amount of time to tell you and convince you to believe them. If they fail, one must be sacrificed on their end to hopefully convince you. And
it represents part of humanity dying.
Yeah.
Because you're basically saying, fuck humanity. My family comes first.
Part of humanity has been tested, is what they say at the end.
My argument would be,
each one.
I'm not killing anybody. I'm not making tidal
It'd be so hard.
waves.
I couldn't even decide. I don't even know how I do it. But obviously, I would love to save you guys. But that would be such a hard decision.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, I get to choose who I am, and I'm not somebody who kills people. Yeah. And it's not even just because I love my family, which I do. I do love the world, but
saving 3 billion people
I'm just
make it
saying,
okay to kill somebody?
I'm not the one making a tidal wave killing people. And if there is some evil god, aliens, a simulation doing that, I would rather see humanity rise up and fight that than for me to do something terrible.
Yeah. To give into
To play its game.
Sick perversions, apparently. Like.
Because if it's aliens who are just bored, if it's a god who's angry, if it's a simulation who's testing us, I would much rather, challenge it than play its game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to beat the system or break the system.
Yes.
If it was a simulation, break the system, if anything. But there's nothing good of murdering if it's a simulation.
I mean, I'd be a little more tempted to sacrifice myself if I really just thought they were straight up crazy. But yeah, if it was...
They do say you can't sacrifice yourself.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I would offer myself as the choice because I would want my family to live. And
Which I'm surprised they didn't do in the movie more.
And here's something that the book brings up that
Now
the
that I think
movie
about it.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Something the movie brings up that the book doesn't, and this is one of the reasons I can't say I like the book or the movie better because I think both of them do things I
What do you
want.
like? Say go now. Go, decide.
I think the book is more poignant. I think the book has more to say about what it is to be human. I don't ultimately know what the ending of the book has to say about what it is to be human.
I have to watch this.
Or the ending of the movie. I think the book is better, but I think the movie is great. So,
I still want to read the book. It doesn't.
it's
I
like
still
giving
wanna
one an
read
A and one a B plus. It's not saying one's bad.
Yeah.
They're different.
They're different.
It's
And
good that they're different. I'm glad they're different.
Yeah.
Like
I think if you're-
knowing what happens in the book, I'm glad we didn't see that. But I would also like to see a version of that.
if
Yeah.
you want to explore humanity and you want to talk about what it is to be human and you want to get philosophical, you need to read the book.
I think
The
your
movie
video
is
is
not
going to
gonna
be
give
popular.
that.
The
If you
comparisons are
want
so different.
A
right?
movie that's entertaining and honestly, the movie isn't talking about what it is to be human. The movie is talking about what it is to truly love
I
somebody.
was going to say it's
Yeah.
love. It's
about
more love.
the movie is
Yeah.
mostly I feel like if you're going to talk about the theme, I think it's a love story.
Yeah.
And not just, I talk about this a lot on my channel. Like the love of your life, it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be your job. It can be your best friend. And in this it's the love of a family.
Well, I also believe it in the acting. Like the acting helps. Like those guys definitely.
Everyone does such a great job.
I mean, if
And-
one person was off, it would have ruined the whole thing.
M. Night said one of the fun things for him making this movie, because they are a gay couple who's adopted a child from China in the book.
Wen does a great job, by the way.
He said
Great little actress.
watching
Oh, she
this.
was the girl was amazing.
He
that
said
was awesome.
watching this as a heterosexual male, like it resonated with him. He got that these two people were in love.
Yeah,
he
I
got
believed
the
it 100%.
struggle. And so he thought that was really cool because he's not gay, but the performances here, the story here made him understand essentially that these are just two people in love.
Good night, Rich. Movie Massacre. I think he's taken off. But yeah, it's like you said, it's a love story. Even Leonard, he's doing what he's doing because he loves teaching. He loves the kids that
He loves his kids.
He loves the world, and it's breaking his heart.
You could see
to
it
try and
in his
convince his family to
eyeballs.
do what he wants them to
Like-
do.
He even says that even in the trailer. He says, my heart is broken. And the little girl says, well, why is your heart broken? And it's because of what I have to do today. Because he doesn't want to hurt this family.
No, he doesn't want them to.
And something that's in the book that isn't in the movie is he promises Wen, I will not let them choose you, no matter what.
Robot Chicken, I need to see it. Get on it. Where as soon as they ask
A version of this?
a version of this, where the first thing they're like, all right, we guys gonna have to choose.
That
Both
would
the
be-
dads go when,
That would be.
and then
oh,
like
man.
everybody who's the 4 visitors like, ew, really?
And I think, I
That'd
think
be
so
I would
bad.
have,
That'd be so bad.
I
You can
would
always
have liked
readopt
them
to
to
be
challenge
good.
the question more. Maybe it's my disrespect for authority, because if you know me, I really have a problem with authority. My first question would be, who's asking? Why do I have to listen to you?
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't even really consider the question because I'd be so offended by the existence of the question. Someone's playing a game with me. That would offend me on like just an existential level. But this movie, they really just consider the question and whether or not these people are authentic, or if they're possibly a hate group.
Yeah,
If this film was, if this was reality, excuse me, if this was like happening now today, and those people came up on somebody, they would have got shot.
Oh, for a Whale.
That is.
After a Whale said their wife passed after 20 years of marriage. Shattered my soul. It took me 5 years for me to even. Wow.
I'm glad you're doing better these days, but that is.
You know what? After a Whale. Shit, Linda.
Ride or die.
She was Ride or Die. That. See, that's the thing, and that's. Gosh, I'm getting all verklempt. That's something that you're going to find in this movie is basically when you find out. I think in life we find our team, and I don't think for everybody it's necessarily romantic. No, you find that thing that's on your team that makes you feel safe. And for some people, it's not even a person. It can be like a job. It could be your child. I love this movie, How to Make an American Quilt, because these women are making this quilt, and they're talking about the love of their lives. And for one woman, it was a chance encounter. You know, sometimes it's a romantic thing. For one woman, it's her child. I think love is different for everybody. But I think the idea of losing that partner, that love, and having to survive after it is one of the hardest things. And that's something the book does that the movie doesn't do. And that's one of the things I was grieving the loss of. Because in the movie, Eric, who's spiritual, says, you know, he's raised with this very Christian background. So he's the first person to be like, I want to be the one sacrificed because I want you to live. Because I love you. Yeah. You know? And Andrew says, how is that good for me? I have to lose the love of my life and walk the rest of my life alone without you. Would you want that? Would you want to be without me? And he's like, no. He's like, so you're basically cursing me to be in pain for the rest of my life. Is that really heroic?
Yeah, that's this whole movie. That's the tough part about that.
Because people say that. People are like, you know, my husband, and you guys heard my husband. My husband's like, well, you'll pick me because I want my wife and my son to live. But then as his wife, I have to be alone. I've lost my best friend and my husband and the love of my life. Am I really the winner here?
No, but I think, like, and the movie and the book have different circumstances on this, and that's why I think they go different directions. But you would have our kid, you know, and it would suck, but I mean, our kid would be also suck if he never got a chance to grow up, if he never got to experience things. And I think that's what kind of weighs on some of this. But then, like, with other circumstances, yeah, like, if it's just some evil god, then yeah, like, screw that god.
I wish there was more questions about it.
Exactly.
That would be my first question. Who's asking? Because I'm an asshole.
If it's really just a hate group,
I wish these guys were bigger assholes like me. They're very sweet.
I would hate to do it, but, like, if it was just a hate group that really were just out to hurt my family... But if for any chance I thought they would if I actually thought that they would stop at just me, maybe I would be more like that. But if it's really just this sick god that's playing with humans' lives, then I am, like, totally deuces on that. But
and the book and the movie give you a lot to consider both points of view.
Yeah.
So both of them, they give you different answers, but both of them, you know, I mentioned that Andrew was attacked. And in both the book and the movie, Andrew thinks that the person who attacked him is in this group. And so you're like, well, shit, maybe
they are a hate group.
Was that in the book too?
That's in
that's in the book too. But the book doesn't ever give you an answer for
it.
It
doesn't in the
never
movie, does it?
Well, in the movie it does.
The movie does.
The very end.
A little bit does.
The movie definitively
very smally. They know.
Okay, guys, here's my biggest complaint about the movie.
I'm excited for this.
My biggest complaint about the movie.
The gritty stuff.
So we have Ron Weasley, which bless his heart, he is a treasure.
We have a wizard and a superhero.
Yeah.
Rupert Grint, who plays Ron Weasley, who plays Redmond in this movie, is an extremely talented actor. Something that's really hard, and I can attest to this, being somebody who moved to this country with an English accent, a very strong English accent, and was bullied and had rocks thrown at them. I worked very hard to get an American accent, and I changed schools. But, you know, even today, there's still words like schedule.
His American accent.
That are hard. It is hard to change your accent.
I like your accent.
Rupert Grint.
What accent? That sounds so... I didn't even...
When she gets a little tipsy,
every time you say
it comes
it,
out.
I forget. I thought...
Rupert Grint, and it could be just because I am a person who grew up in England, who is half English. I could hear it. I could hear...
There was words he was doing that were definitely off, but that's in my opinion, that's what makes people doing accents, because they are acting. They're not just acting with their face and their body. They're now acting with their vocal
pronunciation.
And I think
huge.
we can find a way, and we don't know anything about him. We don't know that he hasn't moved to.
Well,
we know he's from the
in the
East
show
Coast.
Servants, he plays an American guy. I haven't watched the show, but he plays with an American accent, and I believe it's one of his biggest roles with an American accent.
He moved.
He does well.
We don't know that he isn't like me. You know, I say some words with an English accent. I say some words with an American accent. If I'm around my mom, I speak with an English accent. If I am way too drunk, which we're getting there, guys.
I don't know what she put in that cup, you guys.
I speak with an
But she's
English
been drinking
accent.
it with a straw like she always
But
does.
the first words I spoke were with an English accent. And because I was bullied when I came to America, I changed it. And
you just switched. You did it.
Yeah.
You switched. You said changed.
Yep.
By
Changed.
balls. But we don't know anything about Redmond, the character. We don't know. I mean, we know he's from the East Coast. We don't know.
I
that
knew
he
from the
didn't
gate
move
that
here
he
from
was
England.
a dick, and I didn't believe anything he said.
So we can. I mean, you don't have to assume that he's just some,
It seemed
guy who
really
grew up in
obvious,
Boston. He could have moved there from England.
Drive your car here in Boston.
but Pretty good. That was a good accent.
Get your movie car.
Thank you,
I'm
Afrowell.
walking here.
Honestly,
Hey, I'm
Afrowell.
walking here.
Afrowell, here's the hardest part about it. I moved here when I was in the 4th grade, 1990. And I had
Great year.
I had a
Great
British accent, and there's this boy, Jeremy Fuller. I don't even care about sharing his name.
Fire.
He would throw rocks at me for my Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles backpack and my accent. And none of the girls wanted to be my friends because I thought I was stuck up. And I worked really hard watching Beavis and Butthead with my dad, my dad's American, to get an American accent and switch schools. But I mean, honestly, the worst part about it is when I got into high school, everyone was like, do the English accent. That's kind of sexy. That's kind of cool. When you get older, everyone thinks this.
Do we get to hear it?
When you get older, people think it's exotic and fun, but I moved here at the wrong time, and so yeah, I'm a little traumatized.
Are we gonna hear it? Do we get a little snippet?
Be around me with my mom.
Yeah, they start talking.
I tried,
back and
guys. I
forth.
tried.
They ban her.
Or if I'm really drunk. I think one time I was really drunk,
Kind
drunk.
like a British hippie.
We'll see if this stream goes another hour. We'll
When
be able to
I'm
do
very
it.
drunk, 1, I love everybody. 2, I speak with an English accent. And somebody once told me, wow, you're speaking with an English accent. I was like, I'm not English, I'm American. And I passed out and threw up in a fan. So let's not relive that.
I'm not gonna tell you too much of what exactly, but from what you've told me, the biggest injustice that in the book, Redmond has some blood spilled, and they have to like wipe it up with a Harry Potter towel.
Did I miss
Okay.
That
that?
was before he was.
So
because
here's
in
the
the movie
thing.
It doesn't happen.
Here's the
Harry
thing,
Potter
and
towel.
I told Kayla this.
I missed it.
When I read this book, I think one of the most fun things about reading is when you're alone in your room, you're reading a book, and you have an audible reaction to what you're reading. You're crying, you gasp, or you just start laughing. And when I read this book, I just started laughing like a crazy person because one of the characters is killed, and they mop up his blood with a Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone beach
Full
towel.
circle.
Before they knew who was going to be casted in the movie. That's just how the book is.
This movie did not use that.
No Harry Potter towel. Sorry to say.
And considering
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't use it in the movie.
No,
so
no,
this
no.
was that's.
That
We
would have been
should've
great.
Kayla and I, you guys should see. Kayla and I are like,
I bet you there was a take where they did. I bet you there was.
I
Or they
wish
thought
they
about
would
it or
have.
something.
I mean, I think.
M. Night Shyamalan said that he cut the editor who wasn't him. It was a separate editor.
Yeah.
One of his friends who's done multiple movies with him. She cut 2 hours or something.
We might get a director's cut on Blu-ray.
It was huge. I was on Collider. You know, watching on YouTube. He did an interview today. He said they cut like 2 hours off.
We'll have to get that director's cut on 4K.
They're gonna do it. They got it. Oh,
Well, at least
I
I don't know if we're
You
gonna.
can't really put a whole bunch into that.
I don't know if we're gonna get 2 hours, but we'll get some more. We'll get some of it, I bet.
Yeah, that'd be
Some
good.
deleted
I'd like it.
scenes.
One of the things that really disappointed me, you're going to see it in the trailer, and I also, because I'm a nerd, I look up stuff.
You're a
But-
nerd? Oh
A
my
little
god!
bit.
I couldn't tell you guys.
In the trailer, they show Eric, the character who played, character Eric, in what looks like a church. And I saw online someone saying that they were an extra in a funeral scene. And I was really excited to see this because William Ragsdale, who was in my top 2 favorite horror films of Fright Night, who played Charlie Brewster, the man I named my dog
Brewster.
after. I named my dog Brewster because of this character.
Yeah.
That scene's not in the movie at all.
Oh.
And that's my biggest complaint is Eric, who I think is just as important as Andrew. He really doesn't get a lot of backstory. We see a little bit of him in Andrew's backstory, meaning Andrew's
I do
parents.
feel like in the flashbacks they were all like focused on Andrew, which was
Andrew's kind of the main character.
yeah.
Whereas in the book, what's interesting, if you choose to read this book,
I'm going to read
is
it.
it's written in third person, but it's written in deep third. So that means they're using he, she, but you're able to read their thoughts. So you get chapters that are titled Andrew, Eric, Leonard, Wen. You're in their head.
Yeah.
And so, like, these guys were asking me, like, is Leonard the real deal? Is he really that sweet? And I was like, yeah, I've been in his head.
All right. I think it's kind of good to not know exactly what's in the head of the visitors, but that is nice to know.
Keep it a mystery. It's scarier. that way.
Slasher in Suits here. Let's go ahead and select that one. He says Harry Potter had the best death. This was rated R, but not too violent. That is actually my biggest complaint of this movie.
Oh, by the way, Slasher and Suits just did a kill count on this. Am I slurring?
On
He just did a kill count on his channel. If you guys love kill counts like Dead Meat, Carnage Count, Slasher and Suits does an awesome job. Also, he joined me for a Fight Night tag teams recently. Which
we had a bunch of
fun.
slashers that have teamed up together to fight other slashers who have teamed up together. It was great. But that is my biggest complaint of this movie is it's rated R,
I
but
love it.
and I don't need this movie to be
Salute.
super gory.
Super Gory B.
Super gory!
Super gory!
We have
I
love
do
it.
wish that they showed a little more of the deaths.
Little baby version
It's
of
like
your mom.
you get a pretty good glimpse of the first death, but as the body count piles up, you get less and less, and that is, I think you should have saw a little bit more. I don't need it to be like Saw violent. But
Let's talk
a
about
little
that.
bit.
They could have done like
A
I don't
little
know,
more.
how much can I say? Like
We're in spoiler talk now.
We're
so
in
so, like,
mild
with
spoilers.
don't tell them how it ends.
with
that's
the
all.
first apocalypse, we got the wave, right? The wave came in. I love we have that M Night Shyamalan style,
Could be
like
coincidence.
handheld camera, the shaky. Like all I could think about from that scene was, it's behind that scene from Signs where you see the guy walk by. It was handheld
See-
camera. You could have seen some live action gory. I don't want beheadings or anything, but like you could have done. You should have shown some bodies like dying in the wave or something,
something.
for a rated R film.
Here's the thing about this movie. It's the first rated R movie that M. Night has directed since The Happening. And honestly,
Oh, that's
The Happening was a
been
little
while.
too tame
all
on
of
the
That's a
the
while ago,
deaths
okay.
are off screen. I think honestly the worst one is the first one, which you think it would ramp up.
Yeah, you think it would go up, but instead
And
it goes
you don't
less.
see anything. Which I think knowing that the premise is that these people who are invading, they're going to sacrifice themselves for every time that the family refuses to sacrifice somebody from the family.
They have to be horrified. You think we'd have to see what they see?
In the book, like, they're telling Wen to cover her eyes and cover her ears because it's horrifying.
Even in the movie, they tell her to do that.
Even the people in this group, are horrified by it. They're terrified by the fact that they have to kill somebody. I think they should have shown it so that we would understand.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Maybe a little bit
Trust
each
me,
one.
I am not. I am a horror addict, but I
No.
am nowhere near these two. I love it. I like horror. My wife loves it as well. Kayla's into it. I don't need to see it all the time, but for me to enjoy a horror movie, I have to feel like I'm in that spot, and I need to see some of it.
A little bit more.
Yeah, a
Like
little
you
bit
said.
more.
I
I
think
need to
you
be
need
in
to
that
see enough to be horrified.
At
Because
least one point.
that's what makes something
I do.
horror.
I say blood it up a little bit. I'm not
We
gonna
talk
lie.
about, is it horror a lot? Is alien horror?
Very blood.
And I think if it horrifies you, it's horror. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that. And some of that is showing the kills.
Yeah, I need to
It's
see a couple
showing
of kills. I need to see a
something-
couple kills.
I don't ever want to see somebody be killed in front of my eyes. That would traumatize me. But in a movie, for it to be horror, it needs to show me that.
I think it should have showed us a little more than it did. That's for sure.
I felt like this movie treated me like the little girl. This movie treated me like I'm Wen.
It makes me believe.
And they're like, Gory, we don't want to scare you.
It feels like a trend a little bit. I hate to say it, but I feel like people are getting a little soft.
I feel like it pulled a gun on me, but then it was just a airsoft gun, and that's all. I'm like, oh.
I think the themes in this are still horrifying, especially when you think about it. But I think for something to be truly horror, it needs to show you it.
A little bit more than
a little bit.
this.
Well, for an M. Night Shyamalan, I mean, but he hasn't always been one for like gore and crazy blood.
Not
And,
usually. I
Horror
don't
isn't
like.
just gore, though. Let's look
No,
at The Sixth
no.
Sense. The little girl in the tent. She's throwing up. She's scary looking.
The Sixth Sense, the kid with the bullet wound.
kid
in
with
his
the
head,
bullet wound.
and the ghost.
It shows you why he's scared.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a movie horror, is it shows you why it's scary.
And old, you got the lady with the bonitis. I mean, there's one of the kills should have been good. Like towards the end.
Even in The Visit,
been-
even the diaper scene, you know what I'm talking about.
I need to see the visit.
Why
again. I
are
need to
they-
watch it again.
High
I
face.
think
Oh.
what makes something scary, makes it horror instead of just thriller, is they let the audience see why the characters are horrified.
But even like some
And
of
this movie plays it pretty safe.
yeah,
For a rated R.
a little too safe because most of the ones we just talked about are
Consider that
PG-13.
The Ring is
I
PG-13.
have a feeling they were kind
Yeah.
of catering to a younger audience a little bit.
But
Like, they
then-
definitely, I think you can be, 13, 14 and watch this just fine.
Yeah, it really doesn't justify its R rating, to be honest.
It's honestly pretty tame.
Yeah, it's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, you guys. I own a toy store. I don't believe anything
Yeah.
I say.
You're
I
the
believe you.
best.
I believe you.
Hey, Brain goes
I
blue.
think that this
I think I'm
should have
tipsy,
easily
guys.
passed as a PG-13
It's a great
movie.
thing. We're amongst friends. Let's be tipsy.
Are you having
I
fun?
had 3 shots of whiskey before I got here, so
Are you having fun?
I'm having a blast. I'm
You need to
hanging
try
out
my
with you
guar
guys.
whiskey.
You're fun.
Do you have it on you?
I will as soon as we're done with this. We're about to wrap it up here. It's
Isn't
been a
Dan
little
fun?
over an hour.
Look at my real smile.
Dan's fun, yes?
Oh,
Dan's the best. Dan.
He is the best. When I first
Dan-
met Dan, I was like, this guy's... Okay, here's the true story. I'm a little tipsy.
Yeah,
so I'm
you
gonna
No,
like-
let's hear it all. This is great for the channel,
I'm
right?
trying to- yeah, why not?
I'm a little tipsy. When I get tipsy, I get a little
People like to see real stuff.
hippie-ish.
I like to see real stuff.
I also get really honest. So when I met Dan, I was like,
This guy's quiet.
he seems a little quiet, but he seems really nice. And the biggest thing is I get kind of overwhelmed by people pretty easily, and I wanted to see Dan again. But Dan is super fun. And I think that's why people like watching him on YouTube, is he's just fun. When you watch Dan, he feels like he's already your friend, and that's I think what I felt.
No
And-
bullshit Dan is what I call him.
If you like
Exactly.
horror, then I am definitely your friend. We don't have to even like the same horror movies. As Afro Whale says here, Doug, and all good, we respect there's opinions here. And that's the thing. If you love a horror
I like
movie
that
that I
you
don't love,
take people for who they
Yeah.
are.
you love horror, and
Yeah.
therefore I respect you.
Trust me.
I mean, even if you didn't, I mean, this is just in the place
Dan and
for
I
you.
we don't all like the same stuff. I'm sure. Like
No, but-
I'm sure we argue all the time about movies. But I'm a huge movie buff. I love movies.
He loves
I'm so
movies.
glad
He
you're here.
writes at the local paper, the little magazine here that's really cool. That's
The Comet.
The Comet,
The
and
Comet. If you
he
want to
just-
look
he
it up,
puts
The
articles.
Comet. He has a website.
Yeah.
It's great. The Comet.
he writes articles for you.
His
Just-
wife is also the best.
She's great. I love Kayla. She's great. She's an accountant though, so
Of course
We
you're gonna
need
be
that
marrying
though to
her.
keep the store going. We need
But
someone who's good with the money.
she is a big book reader. She loves books. Like, she loves Harry Potter.
We're starting a
Lord of the
book club.
Rings,
She loves Star Wars. She loves her
Star
Jar
Wars.
Jar.
I have made her.
I love the Red
trust me.
Dwarf reference. Because I'm English.
Right?
We're simple people. We
Tell
love
us all
PG
your
tips,
secrets.
right, Rich?
We love Lipton because it's brisk, baby.
You're not even English. You're an English through marriage.
I know, but I love Danny DeVito and brisk, baby.
Though honestly, I'm about 2 beers away from speaking an English accent.
You know when you drink out of a straw, you're getting
It's
no oxygen,
for her,
so you get for the lipstick. I'm
The
sure,
lipstick,
but
yeah.
but you're getting less oxygen and
These
more
don't
alcohol.
get washed in the
See,
washer machine.
you get a little buzzed faster. They say.
A little bit, yeah.
Your final rating.
I do know
It's
Dustin
fine.
Hayes,
We're
yes.
not on my channel, so I can be as silly as I want to
Dustin
be.
Hayes
Red
is
Dwarf
great.
does rock. I love Red Dwarf. And now I'm hungry for curry. Thanks, Fairpoint Station.
Ugh, curry's the best.
Dustin Hayes is actually one of our customers.
When you're
Yes,
in
I know.
England, curry is like Mexican food over here. Because I don't remember growing up with Mexican restaurants, but you grew up with curry restaurants.
Fairpoint Station is local.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, Dustin's awesome, man. He does a lot of music in town locally. He actually writes for Comet as well.
I went to high school with his brother, so.
Did you not?
So I want to say that Rupert Grint doesn't stick to the accent super well, but as somebody who worked very hard to have an American accent, I sympathize. It's something I saw also in Twilight. A lot of people thought Robert Pattinson didn't do a very good job. And
I thought he did great.
I think
as
I'm gonna
somebody
still say it
who
today.
worked for over a year watching a lot of Beavis and Butthead, it's not the best way to do it. And listening to their dad, who's, from America, it's hard. It's hard to completely change the way you speak. I think
I've
Rupert
tried
Grint honestly did a really good job considering, but there's only a handful of times where I've really noticed somebody breaking their accent, and it's Rupert Grint in this movie. It's Robert Pattinson in Twilight, and if you guys saw Driving Cars with Boys, the guy in that one.
Robert Pattinson thought he was Hufflepuff, but he didn't. He found out he ain't gangster tough, so we had him off.
Damn things Hufflepuffs are gangster tough.
Yeah,
They're all about
Hufflepuff
friendship.
past that shit.
They're all about friendship. Ravenclaws, like moi.
Because when you smoke a
We gotta
blunt,
play the
you
game.
are friends.
We have to play the game to see what we are. You
Oh,
guys.
the new game?
What are
We
you?
have-
Do you want to get...
I'm not gonna.
Have you
I
pre-ordered
think
them?
Are we gonna go to
Slytherin.
Pottermore?
I think I'm Slytherin, but until I play the game,
I'm
I
a
won't know.
I
Ravenclaw.
took the test. I'm Hufflepuff.
I think this game is gonna
Like
be one of the best
Deadpool,
tests.
like Coolio,
You know why? You know why?
and like Snoop Dogg.
You know why? Because you're sweet and lovable.
Yeah, like Deadpool. He's
You're
so sweet, right?
and lovable, and you love friendship, and
And
you have a good
Snoop
heart.
Dogg.
I will definitely be
Super
on
does
here.
have a garden.
Yeah, he loves
reviewing
to smoke the
Deadpool
puff.
and Wolverine.
You can
That is a horror
love
movie,
people
right?
and still smoke the puff.
Exactly, Hufflepuff, gangsta tough.
I hope we're not losing you with our little bit
Anyway,
of
Robert
tipsiness.
Pattinson, we had him killed because he wasn't gangster tough.
He is-
We put a hit on his ass.
He's actually
I don't
really
think we're losing
talented.
anybody. People
Hey,
love hanging out with
Anyways,
us.
what
With
is your
Tipsy Gory?
what is
Hey,
Tipsy Gory? What is your
I
final
love
verdict?
it. Tipsy.
What?
What is your final verdict for this movie?
See it!
See it. I say see it in the theaters while you still got a
Oh, is
chance.
that what
So-
we review?
Yeah.
I say see it.
What
I
we
say
do
see
here-
it twice.
I'm actually gonna say own it. I'm gonna buy this.
Can
as
I
soon as
give it
comes
a
out.
number?
Sure.
Because I'm gonna do what I
Yeah.
want. I'm gonna give it out of a 10.
I
You guys ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready for this? 7.1.
All right, 7.1. That's definitely a see it.
I
7.1.
respect that.
I'm actually gonna straight up own it. As soon as it comes out, I will buy it. But I
One
would
of my
say
best.
go out and
One of
see
my
it while you
favorite M
can.
Night Shyamalan movies since Split.
He hasn't. Yeah, I definitely say this is the best one he's done since Split by far.
What I
Um,
love about M. Night is like we've just talked amongst the three of us, and we have different rankings. You know, Sixth Sense is my favorite,
We like Unbreakable.
but this
Unbreakable's
is definitely one of the ones I think is
probably my
really
favorite.
good,
my
above
favorite.
the line. I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd, but yeah, I
How
want
dare
I
you.
want to
You read the book, so
own
you're
it.
also a little.
I want to
biased.
own it, but I absolutely think if this premise interests you, read the book.
When I think you haven't can do anything more stupid, you completely redeem. Okay, maybe he doesn't completely redeem himself, but
I'm
this
so
is definitely
tipsy.
a step forward. Like, I was so disappointed with Glass. Like, oh, that broke my heart. And then Old was like such a farce. Like, I was
Gory B.
entertained.
Tipsy. I love it. It's a new name.
I was entertained with Old, but it was not a good movie. This is a great movie. I'm glad. He was destroyed with his big budget with the Avatar, right? The Avatar Airbender movie. That like was the biggest budget he ever had.
Was
and
that
the big studio?
Emily?
Yes.
Was that? Oh my
And
god.
that like it
I
pissed
had no
off.
idea, you guys.
It pissed off all of his
Are you
like the
upset?
fans of that
A
anime,
little bit.
and it destroyed him. But he's taken some wild swings, but he's been paying for his own movies since then. He did The Visit, amazing. He's done a lot of them that were good. He's done a lot of them that were not good, but he's still like got a passion, and I respect
I feel
that
like he's passionate about
very
telling
much,
stories.
and I respect that.
I think he really regrets the period of his life where
Where-
he was doing kind of the corporate thing, where he's doing
Yeah.
afterlife.
They're like
He's
a big
doing-
It definitely seems different.
The
in his
Happening, they're like,
writing,
oh, make this cool movie where everyone kills themselves, but then make sure there's a twist.
And I like that in this one because everyone thinks of him as the twist guy.
And
He's
that's
like,
There's no twist in
That's
this
what
movie.
companies.
it's straightforward. You know, there is a
Once
choice
you know,
to
you
make.
know, and the not knowing is part of that.
A
angst of the
choice
mo-
is
yeah.
made.
Yeah.
A studio.
A choice is made. I can't tell you if they choose
But
not
I'll
to
tell
make the
you,
choice.
part of the 7.1 I'm giving is strictly based on acting.
Yes,
like I'm
exactly.
talking
One of the
acting
things
and film.
Mwah, chef's kiss on the
Yeah.
acting.
One of the
It was
things I
great.
love about this movie that's not in the book is it talks about grief, and
Yeah.
there's a
Well,
lot
it's a
of
deep concept, yeah.
there's a
So
lot
much.
of different perspectives on grief, and one of the perspectives is we're just not going to think about it. We're not going to think about grandma or my husband or my, you know, whoever you lost, that's
Whoever
hurting.
you feel like you're
This
failing.
is a punch to the face with grief.
One of those philosophies is we're not going to think about it. We're going to pretend it didn't happen. And then there's the other philosophy of, God, I really love that person. I really miss that person. Let's listen to their favorite song. Let's watch their favorite movie. Let's think about them. Let's celebrate them. And the how painful it is, but also how good it feels because it reminds you how much you love them.
Yeah.
And this movie, has one scene where it's exactly that, where it's like, God, it hurts so much. But it also reminds me how much I love them. It reminds me of the best of me and one of the worst things that happened to me.
You know how they say that there's like the 4 or 5 stages of death? And a lot of these people, they're going through those. And they it's their cue because like where they are in the movie to do that. There's the denial, there's the pleading, there's the acceptance, and there's, there's all these things. What?
You're pointing. That's a point.
We're out for now. We're wrapping it up, so then we'll go get more, okay? So, it's a great thing of grief. It's a great thing of love, and it's, like I said, it's those stages of acceptance of death.
For Will, I have a tremendous American accent, so I don't know what your thought.
Thanks for having me, guys. This has been awesome.
This is Duck. He's, like, really cool.
I have no idea. I didn't know what to expect. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been awesome.
Hey,
So-
everyone loves your mustache.
Yeah.
I know. I get to. So, can I? Long story short. Can I tell a story about my mustache?
Yes.
Okay. So, I grew this mustache when I was 26 years old, because I was a firefighter, and I was in charge of a couple people, and nobody took me serious because
Did it make you feel more adult?
It made me feel more adult, and it made, but everybody took
Thanks,
me serious.
Everwill.
I feel like it changed everything. So it took over, and plus I can't shave it. Every time I shave it, it just grows back.
I'm trying to grow a mustache, and it's
Yeah.
not working, even though I'm half Italian.
I have, like, the reverse Hitler, because there's, like, this bald spot that always is in the very middle. And I'm glad.
I like the bald spot.
I'm glad. I also go by the Chaplin because that's where he got it from, and Chaplin was cool. But
I'm growing
this
a
is what I
mustache.
grow because this is what grows good. The rest is so patchy.
I haven't shaved in ever, and it's gonna come in a day.
I think Doug should, for Halloween, be sexy Ned Flanders, where he's like in the ski suit, wearing nothing at all. It's like wearing nothing at all. Because he actually goes snowboarding. He's really good at it.
I could do a Ned Flanders. I could do. I get that all the time.
Like geese love ganders, we love it.
Ned Flanders is all. It's
Geese
Simpsons.
love
Who doesn't like
Ganders, and
Simpsons?
everybody
You're
else loves Ned
like-
Flanders.
Like cool nerdy Ned Flanders.
Yeah.
I mean, being a nerd is cool in general nowadays, right?
You love nerd culture.
I think that's
and
what I
you're not
love
the,
about
like,
how movies
religious
have
guy.
changed. Like I talked about
I think
on
movies help change it.
I did a Scream stream
Exactly.
yesterday, and we talked about Randy and how Randy's kind of the dork, and he loves movies, and he loves horror. And by the time you get to Scream 4 with Kirby, it's cool.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
we're from the 90s, and it wasn't fun to be a nerd.
It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool.
Before we take off, so everybody says see it, right? Everybody says you should check this out.
Actually, I gotta tell Brian Goes Blue. Actually, I was a drag king for a long time.
Sunny Boner.
I was Sunny Boner.
I love it.
And
I love Sonny Bono.
I was second place in a competition once for doing Putting on the Ritz. You know what? The person who won proposed to their girlfriend. So, I was robbed.
Yeah,
I
just so
learned
they could
how
have
to
their moment.
tap dance. So yeah, as Sunny Boner, I've rocked many a mustache.
And you do Sharp Dressed Man too by ZZ Top.
I've done Sharp Dressed Man. I've done.
You've professionally dragged. I've actually and both of us, if you go back on our videos, you'll find that we dressed up. I was Darcy the Mail Girl, and you were Joe Bob Briggs.
I'm a sexy dude.
People love Danny with an eye, though.
People think Danny with an eye is wicked hot,
So
and
there you
being
go.
someone who's
Very
tan,
sexy.
I also think it's wicked.
I did really well on the Face of Horror with Danny as an eye.
You did.
So
You
there
did
we
better
go.
than me.
We all
You
voted.
did good too.
I voted every day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're a very hot woman.
Yeah, we all liked it.
You're also a hot man.
I like to think there's multiverse out there, and yeah,
I love
I'm
that.
a hot woman.
Yeah,
in that
there is a multiverse. We all have different personas.
You're just a pretty
Exactly.
dude, honey.
All right. Well, so we
Yeah.
all
Before they start making out.
We
I'm just
agree
kidding.
that
I know
everybody.
It's his thing.
Yeah, we agree everybody should see this. But I want to ask you guys, what are you looking forward to this year so far? Like, what's coming out?
Besides Cocaine Bear,
Oh, that's gonna be great.
I think that's gonna be the funniest bullcrap.
Do you want
movie
to
of the
see
year.
that with us?
I would love to see it with you.
All right, I think we're gonna go see it this
I
weekend.
think we need more movies like that right now. Like everything's so serious. I'm a more of a person first, and I hate to
I
talk
also-
crap about Marvel.
I
but, like,
love
we
that-
need more movies like this.
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear is directed by a woman. Like, guys, we like fart jokes too.
Right.
And we like action too. And we like bloody bodies too. And a lot of people think that because we're women, we don't. You know what? Cocaine Bear is directed by a woman. There you have it. On Gory B Movie, I'm going to be doing a real versus real, telling you about the true story behind the film. I am also really looking forward to Scream 6, which is coming out very soon. And in April, Evil Dead Rise.
I was gonna say you have to be
Evil
looking
Dead
forward
Rise
to Evil
is-
Dead Rise.
there's two
before
movies-
anything.
Two movies that I want to see the most this year, and Evil Dead Rise, which I know is definitely happening this year, and then supposedly this year, Gremlins 3.
Yay, in December!
And an untitled Ghostbusters movie.
Exactly, another one. That's gonna be great. With probably McKenna Grace coming back.
I don't know. I love all sorts of different movies, so I don't have anything. I'm looking forward to everything. This year is gonna be huge, you guys.
What about some Marvel
It's gonna be
movies?
huge. Well, Ant-Man and the Wasp,
The new
the
one.
Quantumania is. I've been looking forward to this.
Kraven
movie
the Hunter might
forever.
be good.
Kraven is gonna be great. The actor that's in that movie played Kick-Ass. It's gonna be huge. That one's gonna be great.
I want a Kick-Ass 3.
Craven's gonna be different than Morbius, in my opinion.
I hope so. Morbius.
It's got better writers.
And
it's
now
got a large
everybody's
group.
drunk, not just Gory.
Just Gory. Gory drunk. But it's all
How
good.
high would you rate my level of drunkenness?
A
7.1.
7. The same as we
What?
rated this movie. You are
A
the
7?
You are the knock at the cabin drunk rating.
How high in the chat do you rank my drunkenness
You
out
went
of
through
10?
those angry orchards
We'll-
pretty quick.
We'll
You are,
take everybody's
as
number. We'll
Tara
sum it
Strong
up.
would say as Bubbles, hardcore.
Isn't there a live action?
Powerpuff supposedly
When
coming
did-
out
that
at
was
some
years
point.
ago.
God,
I've seen some pictures, but I haven't seen any actual proof that it's coming
I've
out.
not seen anything.
At one point, Vin Diesel and Brad Pitt were going to be in the Thundercats movie, and that got canned. So I don't think until I see more development.
Oh, there was a movie that I did want. I can't remember now. Is it 47 or 49?
47,
It was on my list.
Yeah, 47. I believe.
47. So
Afro Whale says 6.7. And May Ann says
He's
10
being-
out
he's
of
being
10.
nice.
Honey, when I'm 10 out of 10, I speak with a British accent.
So-
We're not there yet.
Adam Driver is in a movie coming up. It's
Oh.
it's
Yeah.
him in the apocalypse.
Revenant, yes,
about
Kayla,
dinosaurs.
yes.
I want to see Adam Driver in the dinosaur movie.
I just want to see him do something. I feel like he could be a Dave Bautista, like an unexpected, really big name actor.
I just feel like since they had Adam Driver and dinosaurs, instead of being 47 or whatever it's called, it should have been the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs
Cadillacs.
movie. I love that
Yeah.
old cartoon / comic book.
I guess that's one of the most I'm looking forward to. I like ridiculous movies like that. Like I love
Me too.
I love the big actions. Like I know it's
Is
not
he
gonna be the
related to
biggest
Minnie
plot.
Driver?
Who?
Adam Driver?
I honestly have no idea. He was a military guy. He got hired from straight out of the military.
He's in
The
Star
dog's
Wars.
one.
Yeah, well, he was in Star Wars, yeah. Which I don't know. I feel like I want to see more of him. I haven't seen him in a lot of movies, to be honest with you.
All right, Scissor Me, Doug, and Gory. We're going to call it quits
That was
with...
too natural. I have never
Cut.
done that before.
Cut.
Cut!
Oh.